This week, Rip and Big Scott sit down with first-round draft pick for the Los Angeles Chargers, Quentin Johnston. We got the NFL here. One-star recruits, we're back.
This episode of One Star Recruits is brought to you by 500 Level. It's 500level.com for all the hottest t-shirts in the game. Go grab your Quentin Johnston t-shirt right now. They got 12 different products on 500 Level for Quentin Johnston, first-round draft pick, our guy on today's episode. Use the code ONESTAR for 20% off all those shirts at checkout. 500level.com. Let's go.
This is Quentin Johnston. I'm on the One Star Recruits podcast. Both up.
Yo, aloha. One-star recruits are back with you. There are one-star bumps all over the NFL this week, Rip. It was amazing to see the one-star alumni shining brightly like the five-star humans that they are. There's a bunch of five-star players who went down. Or maybe we're not five-star players. They might be one-star players. The flip-flop. One-stars became five stars. Some five-stars became one-stars. It was pretty good football. There was quarterbacks, Rip. There's 4 quarterbacks, I think, that are making about $1 billion who did not win a football game in week one. So there's some drama brewing. It was really good. There's two reasons. It will be involved in my recommendation of the week. Stay for the end of the podcast. Two reasons I couldn't sleep Saturday night. One will be my one-star moment of the week. I'm sorry, not my recommendation, my one-star moment. The other was that football was on, and it's been a long time since I couldn't go to sleep. I'd take a Tylenol PM, I'm out. I couldn't sleep. I was antsy like Christmas. Can you actually, Rip, can you just explain this phenomenon of grown men being this excited for the first week of Sunday? Does it go back to being gladiators? Is it just, are we weird Americans? Are we sickos?
I think it has to do with fantasy football and the fact that we haven't had that kind of addictive thing that fantasy football gives you in 6 months now. So I've always had it for the first day of school, and I was surprised. When I was growing up, the first day of school, the night before, I could never sleep. And now, even for my kids' first day of school, I was up half the night. I couldn't sleep. I was excited for them. You get it for football. I think it's totally normal, man. It's good to have those things.
Yeah, I think it is good. It's kind of just those antsy moments of tomorrow's going to be exciting, especially exciting in Hawaii with the 7 a.m. kickoff, reminding our listeners how amazing that is. I recommend if you have opportunity in your life to plan a trip to Hawaii during NFL season, just to wake up at 7 a.m. and there's football on. It's glorious. But I think that's a good explanation why we care so much. Europeans look at us like we're nuts. The truth is I look at some English Premier League games, and the intensity of those games seem a little bit nuts to me. And I know you got your druthers with soccer. Anyway, the moral of the story is we're American. We love the NFL. Week one is back. It was amazing. It delivered for me. I got to do some one-star alumni. We usually do the one-star bumps later in the show, but Rip, some shining stars, bro. I'll start out with my first one. Los Angeles Rams. I know we have a Chargers podcast though, but Kyron the Siren Williams really showed up. He's sitting on my fantasy bench. I never even thought for a second this guy should be in my starting lineup. Holy shit. Kyron, way to show up, man. One-star bump. Who you got, Rip?
Kyron the Siren, number one waiver wire ad this week, I believe, across all Yahoo Fantasy. And little known fact, the only guest in the history of one-star recruits we actually had to pay to come on the show. We never pay for guests. We got some big names. Kyron Williams, DK, we paid. We gave him some NIL money back when he was at Notre Dame.
I didn't know that.
You did know that. You probably forgot. Little known fact.
How much? How much did he charge us?
It was $100. He probably got some Chipotle, like 2-3 Chipotle meals out of it. $100 for Kyron Williams. Now he's making millions. One-star bump for sure. DK, but like you said, this is a Chargers pod the last 2 weeks. Just last week, 7 days ago, we had our guy Joshua Kelly on. He had a career game Sunday, DK. I think 16 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Some people are saying he's, next in line to Eckler. He sure looked like it on Sunday. That's a huge
Confident.
one-star bump.
He was jumping off the TV screen for me. He's a confident runner. We had him on last week, listeners. You can pop back and listen to that one. Really good interview with Jay Kelly. He had that umph, it's his personality, because now that we know him a little bit more, we can see it in his running game. But when you pop off the screen like that, you're ready. And Eckler got a little banged up too, right, Rip? That's why he was getting some more carries. I believe Eckler started dealing with an injury in the second half a little bit. They're going to be scary on offense. We'll talk a little bit more about the Chargers because the other side of the ball is not scary, unfortunately, at all. I do love that you threw out that Chipotle reference with Kyron. He did say he loves Chipotle. Look at that memory, man. He's probably. You think he's off that Chipotle in LA now? He's moved on up. He's eating John and Vinny's and all the hot spots.
He's probably getting some 5-star meals, but I think when you have that love and that fire for Chipotle, it never dies no matter how much money you're making.
Yeah, I miss Chipotle. I could do a bowl right now. Chipotle, if you're listening, we got a great podcast. Come holler at us. Aaron Rodgers, he might be available for podcasts, Rip, pretty soon. Believe it or not, put him back on the list. He's a dream guest for ours that we thought would never happen. It happened. What a gut punch! What a gut punch for the Jets, all the fan base, for the league. This was the biggest storyline in the NFL. I mean, you bought in, Rip, completely. You were hook, line, and sinker into Hard Knocks. You were calling them out in all of our pick'em, all of our team things. Rip, you completely bought into all the hype. I'm gonna be honest, man. Go ahead, actually explain all your feelings right now. How are you feeling? That was that was like a Shakespearean play.
So many thoughts through my head, DK, and like you said, Shakespearean play. So many people think the NFL scripted. I don't think there's any way in a million years they'd want to write that in the script. I think the Jets have 6 primetime games left for the rest of the year. So that means 6 nights of watching Zach Wilson.
You got to flex those. They got to flex those. I cannot watch Zach Wilson. I don't know what it is about him, Rip. I mean, he's bad. He is terrible to watch, though. He makes you angry to watch him play football. I'd rather come out and watch your kids play Pee Wee baseball and pay for it than watch Zach Wilson play. They got to flex those games.
You know, they're actually set up though. They probably will flex them, but good thing they signed Dalvin Cook. Now they got him and Breece Hall. They should give him it 40 times a game and just rely on that huge, awesome defense. I think they could still go 10-7, but my thought is Aaron Rodgers going to come back next year?
He looked in shape, but he looked in shape for his final year. Like those last years, Kurt Warner kept trying to make it happen, Rip. You remember? He got that real salt and pepper goatee got real strong. And you could kind of smell that this thing was going to not end the right way.
But does a Hall of Famer really go out on that note? You don't think he'll rehab and
that's
come back?
That's the danger of football. You want to rehab and come back. Guess what? He's still collecting bonus and his full 75 million. So I think he'll try to make a comeback, but this is not accounting. This is the NFL. You cannot. I have no words. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm fucked up by it. It's dramatic. It's adding more stress to my already stressful life, Rip. I can't believe 4 plays in this even happened. It's nuts.
It's totally nuts. You know where my head went actually is to Pat McAfee, because he just announced like within the last week that he secured Aaron Rodgers every Tuesday during football season. It was like the biggest get for him. Now he's got an injured quarterback that no one even cares about this year every Tuesday. So good luck with that, Mr. McAfee.
Good luck with that. Let's give a little Jets good news on just a side note, because you've been loving Wilson too, and you've been very vocal on this podcast. He did have a potential catch of the year, if not catch of the last 5 years. He looks very good. It's going to be hard to watch these Jets. It was hard to watch the Buffalo Bills as well. Miami Dolphins. Look at all you smiling faces come in this AFC East now. Bills lose. Jets lose the best quarterback, best opportunity they have to ever come take this division. Meanwhile, you got the Miami Dolphins looking like the 49ers in the 90s, Rip. You got Tyreek Hill running circles around people. Is this the Dolphins, my Miami Dolphins? Is this their year?
They look just like they did last year. I mean, their defense actually looked better. I'm writing this off because if you're playing the Chargers in a shootout, you're gonna win, and especially if the Chargers are winning at some point in that game, you're gonna come back. That's just the Chargers. Sorry, Charger fans. There's a lot of Bolts fans listening to the episode, but I'm writing off week 1. We'll see how the Dolphins move going forward, but Tyreek Hill is unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll stick with the Chargers. I mean, a couple of things that just terrifying, and the offense looked pretty good. The offense looks pretty good. I'll get there. Chargers secondary. I mean, you got to tighten it up. Brandon Staley, he's just having a lot of decision-making issues, Rip. It seems like they're still here every year. Maybe we think he might tighten up his process a little bit more. Very talented, super talented team. Hill worked J.C. Jackson. I don't even know if Joey Bosa was on the field. Tua outplayed Herbert, but a lot of talent in the wide receiver room. Keenan Allen looks better and more focused. I'm so happy to have him on my fantasy team this year. He's the real deal. Williams looks pretty good. He got banged up early, but came back strong. Quentin Johnston, man. it's time to show off a little bit with this guy. There was a lot of talk in the preseason through training camp that he's going to be a big play guy. And after this interview and after seeing that offense, I believe it. He's a showstopper. He's going to get a couple big long balls this year. He's going to score a couple big touchdowns in big moments. Enjoy this interview with wideout Quentin Johnston.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of Temple, Texas, the 21st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, a guy who drove a Charger in college and now plays wide receiver for the LA Chargers. Quentin Johnston is in the house with the One Star Recruits. Hey, thanks for hanging out with the One Stars, Quentin.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Hey, I know you're driving something different now. I saw you on the three-wheel like Batman car.
Yeah, man.
You get that thing on the 405. Yeah. What do you think about the 405 so far?
Yeah, it's different. It's cool though. Something to get used to for sure.
Yeah.
Hey Quentin, my name's Scott. I'm a big Charger fan, diehard, and I was really looking forward to this draft and how they were going to help Herbert out. And one of the coolest moments I've ever seen with this draft coverage is you just did such a baller move by telling your mom to put her 2 weeks in and tell her to go ahead and you're never going to work again. Can you speak a little bit how you were raised and just the sacrifices that were made to get you here? And then really, I mean, how long have you been planning to have that call, to have that moment?
Yeah, for sure. So, growing up, both of my parents were in the military. So, my base just line of level of learning, how I carry myself as a person was, based off respect and discipline. So, they always, I feel like, guided me in the right way when I was kind of falling off with, in any type of area of my life. They'll always find a way to, put me back on track. They made a bunch of sacrifices for me growing up because I played like 5 sports. They didn't always used to, do the things they wanted to do because they had to take me to practice, take me back to practice. And, most of the time I had practice like 2 towns over. Just growing up, the dream is to make it big. But once you finally get there, I feel like at that moment it kind of just set in like, all right, now it's my turn to get back to them. I would have retired my dad. He was already retired and stuff. So he kind of beat me to it on that. But, just in that moment when I heard my name called, obviously that moment was about me, but I feel like it was a bigger moment for my mom. So that's why I had to kind of just pause the celebration on me and just give a big shout out to her and then tell her to put her 2 weeks in.
That's awesome. Now you took care of mom, right? But how have you been taking care of yourself? We got the Batman car. Is there anything else you decided to buy? I've been pretty good up here, California, compared to Texas, the weather is, way better. So that's a plus on that part. But I got the car, I finally settled in the house. So now I'm just, fully focused on football. So it's been cool. Well, I got to ask about these veterans you've been able to work with recently, since training camp started. I mean, you got Eckler, who's so awesome out there. And then you got 2 true professionals with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Just talk a little bit about what you've learned from them. How's it been going? You guys building some chemistry together?
Coming in as a rookie, just to have those type of guys, those type of vet guys that have been in a year, league 10 year plus, and Keenan Allen, a good little bit with Mike Thomas just coming and, watching him on the field, listening to him in the meeting room, and adding it to my game and applying it to the field.
What about off the field? I saw one of the teams in the NFL I think the 49ers had the rookies pick up like a $15,000 dinner bill. You had to pick up any tabs yet down in Costa Mesa?
Not really trying to speak that into existence, but we ain't got to that point yet. The most I've done was bought breakfast. One time got everybody Chick-fil-A, and then just kind of filled our snack room up. So Target's kind of mad at me right now because I cleared that out for the guys. So.
Yeah, be careful. If they say, let's go to Mastro's Beach Club, you better watch out because that might be a big bill.
If they say Mastro's, that's going to be over with for me.
You get a high.
For sure. I wanted to talk a little bit about, this theme the Chargers had in this draft. How Philly keeps picking up all these Georgia guys, and then these Chargers decided to go with the little TCU theme, with Darius and with Max. How does it feel to be with these boys still in the same locker room? I mean, is it cool? Are you guys still bonding together? Is it going well?
Oh yeah, 100%. So when I got drafted, I was actually asleep the next morning up here. And then I got a call from my coaches, asking me if I heard the news. Wasn't really sure what they was talking about. I was like, the news had already came yesterday. I just got drafted. It was like, nah, Darius Davis is coming too. And that was huge for me because obviously that was one of the guys I looked up to coming into TCU and then finishing my career there. And then Max, just happened to be there too. So that was just amazing obviously that was my brother. We already, had a strong, connection, all three of us. So it made it that much easier coming in, kind of bumping our heads together, learning this new playbook.
Could you speak a little bit? I just was listening to an interview with Brandon Staley real quick. He was talking about just the chemistry with this team, and it's just like it's really coming together nicely. Could you speak on that just a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like stuff like that starts in the locker rooms, just building a bond with each other as a person first. I remember when I first got drafted here, it was actually Keenan's birthday. So I came down, hung out with the guys. They actually texted me. I wasn't really sure. I was, kind of quiet at the time, so I just spent a lot of time with him, Mike, Derwin, guys like that, just kind of getting acclimated. I remember the first thing they said to me was like, there's no reason to be nervous about being here. You don't have to be around here quiet like you don't know us. We're family now. So, ever since then, I feel like, just that mindset and that, energy is just infectious to the team. That translates to the field, which results in our chemistry we have now.
I love it. I love your confidence, Quinn. And, like with receivers nowadays in the league, like they show out right away, right? Rookie receivers are coming up big right away. And I know your first goal was to become a starter, and you've already checked that off. But let's talk a little bit more about what are the more specific goals you have this season?
Oh, yeah, for sure. First and foremost, just being able to be placed in any position that they need me at on the field. Whether it's right now I'm at X, but if it's Z, Y, F, just anything like that. And then just kind of maximizing my ability to what the team needs at that time in different situations. And then two, kind of just personally, being just an impact player from the beginning. Hopefully, at the end of the season, doing things like making the Pro Bowl, breaking 1,000 yards and stuff like that. But I feel like once I make the first thing, first, and that's doing my job to start off, I'll eventually get there.
I love the goal setting, Q. We got a few more for you here. We end every interview with a segment we call 1 star to 5 star. Like I said, we're 1 stars. We need all the help we can get from guests like you. So I want to ask just a few questions, and we're going to use a 1 to 5 star scale, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest.
Okay.
We mentioned your teammate, Austin Eckler. We had him on the pod a couple of years ago. He's huge into real estate investing. His mom is actually a realtor up in Colorado. Okay. And to me, Texas has always been an appealing market to invest in when it comes to real estate. You're from there, Temple. Yeah. What would you say is let's say a 5-star up and coming city in Texas that people might want to keep their eyes on?
5-star up and coming.
Even one of those suburbs, man. I know there's so many little suburbs outside of it.
He's from Temple. So, that's a small spot, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I could put Temple on there. That's a small spot, steadily, going. I feel like ever since I left there, every time I came back from break on college, it was like 5 new restaurants built, a new just whatever. That's slowly but surely expanding. I was in the Dallas Fort Worth area for the last few years. So I guess Plano, Frisco area, even though those places are already kind of got a name for themselves. I feel like there's still room for growing in those places as well.
Yeah, they're building all kinds of amusement parks and theme parks. Yeah. It's crazy, the growth down there. All right, next up, you have the word fearless tattooed on you. If I was 6'3", 208, I probably wouldn't be scared of anything either. So yeah. But I'm a 1 star. I'm actually afraid of heights. I have to have my wife. Yeah. My wife holds the ladder for me when I'm putting up Christmas lights because I can't get up there too high. I know Scott is scared of his boss, AJ, who's the principal over at Hillview Middle School in Whittier. But to me, there's something for everybody that kind of makes you take a step back, like spiders, snakes. What actually is it for you? Let's call it the 1 star thing that really does quick scare Quentin Johnston.
Man, it's not really like you said, heights or anything like that. It's just I guess the fear of failing. Because I feel like I'd have made it to this point. I got so many people looking up to me. If I come up here and kind of just don't really make a name for myself, all that work and stuff I put in would be for nothing. So I feel like that's probably my main, fear if I have one.
That's a great answer, man. I thought you were gonna go with snakes or something, but that's a great answer.
Man, I'm not. Look, look, I'm close to the country. I'm not scared of no snakes or nothing like that.
All those Texas snakes. Okay, 2 more for you. I know you're a Madden guy. It must be crazy to see yourself to be part of that game. What about fantasy football, though? It's such a huge deal these days. My grandparents are playing it. Scott just drafted you on his squad last week. And I know Eckler, he's all in. He loves fantasy football. How do you feel about fantasy football on a scale of 1 to 5 stars?
I guess for me, it'd probably be like a 2 or 3 just because I haven't really gotten into it yet. All my friends and family are, and they always call me up for all the time, you know, talking about how they drafted me and stuff like that. That's crazy because I got a text at like 5, 6 in the morning this morning to talk about my Madden player updated, and they got me on fantasy. I'm like, man, it's cool, it's crazy. But you know, me personally, I never really just got into it.
Well, what about like a 30-second pitch? Because I know people are drafting their fantasy football leagues right now. It's early.
Yeah.
You're not that guy like Eckler that's going to go out there and say draft me number 1. But we saw 2 rookie wide receivers last year, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Both went for over 1,000 yards. Tell all the Charger fans why you're going to hit your goals this year and why they should draft you in your rookie year.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the guys on the team is going to make it that much easier for me to hit my goals. You know, Justin Herbert, is stellar confidence and accuracy. Even if my route's not always on point, he's going to throw me into the right places. And I feel like the bond we're building right now is just going to continue. Throughout the season, we're gonna, keep going forward to make each other better. So, like I said, the Pro Bowl, the 1,000 yards, I feel like, over time that'll be there. That's not gonna be just where my head is at, at all times. But I feel like if I keep doing my job, working with him, working with Keenan, working with Mike, I'm gonna look up at the end of the season, my, goal is gonna be right in front of me.
Hey, we saw a little flash in that first preseason game. We love the potential. You got all the weapons there, like you mentioned. Everyone, go follow Quentin on Instagram and Twitter. You can find him wearing that number 1 jersey for the Chargers right now. Draft this man in fantasy. And congratulations, man, on living out your dream. We're looking forward to following the journey. Best of luck, bro.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks again to Quentin Johnston. Thanks again to the Chargers, our guys. 2 Chargers in a row, DK. We might be a Chargers pod at this point. And also, real big thanks to our guy Scott, who's a middle school teacher at Hillview Middle School in Whittier, California. Huge Chargers super fan. Was so happy to get on that interview with QJ and did an amazing job when you were out of commission for a few weeks in Hawaii. But yeah, special thanks to Scott again. DK, I got a question for you because you've been, after that game last night, your quarterback in fantasy football is Josh Allen. Threw 3 picks, had a fumble. I think one of the worst games in his career. Mm-hmm. I offered you a late night trade, Lamar Jackson for Josh Allen.
You always do that. You've been doing that for 20 years that I know you. You love that move. And you're always the worst trades. And you wanted to get Laporta? Get out of here.
No, that was like a throw-in. No, Laporta's not gonna. I was trying to give you a Musgrave, the up-and-coming tight end for the Packers, but not. So you're thinking Josh Allen's still gonna bounce back and have a better year than Lamar Jackson? Is what I'm hearing.
I gotta hope so. Stephon Diggs is so good. Their receivers are still the same guys, but he's kind of a douche, huh? He started dating hot chicks this offseason and he grew his hair out a little bit, and now he wants to put his helmet on the heater that fast, bro. Don't put your helmet down so fast. Think about what look at the workbook and you think about what you're doing and you gently put your helmet down. Too cool for school, ass mofo. He just seems like a guy who's thinking about other things. Probably poontang. Probably.
That's actually where my head went right away as you saw him in the tabloids this summer for whoever he's dating. But yeah, I think you're just a little bitter because I think you needed like 12 points out of him to get the win, and you felt like 3 points.
Yeah, take that out. It was very sad. I mean, Whitehead had his number 3 picks. Was that the number for a guy who had 3 picks his entire career at all of college or something? It was just nuts. He kept throwing it that man's direction. Very problematic with that whole. I think Buffalo was exposed. I think they're fake and they were exposed. So I'm very sad that Allen's going to be my quarterback, and I'm going to write it out because I think him and Diggs will at least score some points together. Bills in general, very disappointing, man. This guy Cook, and I know you love Cook, he better be the guy. He looked very nice, but the way that the running back situation in Buffalo has worked out with a lot of first-round picks, not so good. Buffalo's headed to Las Vegas, so they could be staring 0-2. Vegas looked kind of okay.
Man, did Vegas look okay, or the Broncos just look the same as they did last year? You're only putting up like 16, 15 points like at home in your home opener. Russell Wilson might be done.
Those are the games you're going to get, though, in that division. Yeah, maybe I think they could open him up. Cortland Sutton, everything in the red zone was okay for Denver. They just got to get there. That's going to be the hard part. Raiders, what I like about the Raiders, I think the energy's right there. I think it's a combination of Vegas really taking to that team right now, that defense having some faces, Crosby, some other guys that are really recognizable and playing their hearts out every snap that they're in there, and getting away from the David Carr wishing on a prayer. It's like when you're playing golf and you're guiding the ball, call you a guider. he was a guider. He wasn't throwing darts. He was just kind of guiding the ball there. And I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is the exact answer, but what I like about him is he finds solutions when you need the solution, and they're not pretty. It's not going to be a Tom Brady beautiful pass for the dub, or like Tua dropping that thing in a bucket to Hill, on that second touchdown that he got. It's going to be ugly. Josh Jacobs is going to have to get 150 and a couple tutties. But I'm not mad at the Raiders. I'd actually take maybe a lock on the Raiders to contend, depending on the Chiefs. A lot of people questioning the Chiefs now. Rip, I know you believe in Mahomes. I'm all over the place. NFL is very exciting. You're gonna have to cut some of this up, Rip, but I'm excited that at least we can talk again about the NFL. I feel my heart pumping again, and I'm gonna beat your ass in fantasy. I'm 0-1 across the board, but I'm gonna come. My main goal is to beat you, mainly because you sent me that bullshit trade. The tight end for Green Bay? Get out of here.
Bro, he's like a high draft pick. He's like 6'5", 250. You see him getting loose down the field. Your eyes should have got big and
your boy Laporte is going to find the zone 7.5 times. Mark it.
Well, I need somebody. I got Mark Andrews, who I don't know if I could stomach that 6 a.m. inactive. And if I was out in Hawaii seeing Mark Andrews is inactive at 6 a.m., I might just go back to sleep at that point. Yeah, but like you said, man, the NFL is back. We're juiced. What about recommendations of the week? Let's do one-star moments of the week first. Let's go from a high to a low. You mentioned in the beginning that you had a really good one-star moment. What was it?
Yeah, back to the one-star moment. This is just an advice one-star moment. I was excited for football. The night before, I decided, you know what? I'm going to treat myself, and I'm going to treat myself to a frozen pizza. It's not something I do all the time. I decided I'm going to go take a gander at a new frozen pizza. Very risky endeavor. I chose the home run pizza. Have you heard of this brand, Home Run?
Yes, I have. I believe it's from Chicago, no?
Chicago, good stuff. I chose the thin crust because I didn't want the deep crust. Deep crust freezer pizza, get out of here. This slime ball, you can't get that. That's too much cheese. That'll make you sick. Nevertheless, I did the thin crust. I'm going to tell you right now, listeners, just go ahead and buy that pizza and then just throw it right in the trash. Okay? It's kind of a buttery crust. It sat right in my fupa that whole night like a bowling ball, right between your stomach and the top of your crotch rib. It sat right about there. Really terrible night. I think it contributed to my not being able to sleep, but I had the worst morning bowel movements that I've ever had. Almost ever. It was a painful situation. The one-star moment is the home run pizza, maybe freezer pizza in general. I still will rep the DiGiorno. I like the Amy's cheese pizzas. I think there's still good ones in the market. Those two are actually goated. I kind of could eat one right now if it was presented to me. Should I stop with frozen pizza, bro? Should I just stop with it? It never really sits well on your stomach.
I don't think you need to stop with it. I just think you need to go to the ones you trust and know and trust, like DiGiorno and like you said, Amy's. Like just get those same ones that you're gonna wake up in the morning feeling fine, and they won't lead to a one-star moment basically.
Amy's is pretty nice. Do your kids mess with Amy's? Do your household do Amy's pizza?
They don't like it as much because it's probably better ingredients and doesn't taste as good. But we always have like a DiGiorno in the freezer just in case of an emergency, and the kids just need to throw a pizza in the oven. So right now I think I got a rising crust pepperoni and sausage DiGiorno in the freezer right now. So that's just something good to have on hand. It's like ice cubes.
If you do a pizza battle, DiGiorno or your all-time favorite, Little Caesars, who wins?
Little Caesars is not my all-time favorite, but I would actually take DiGiorno over Little Caesars, I believe, at this. But you know what? Little Caesars is innovative. When you get the hot and ready with the stuffed crust, Little Caesars is a solid 6 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, and you got to eat that thing fast. The thing is, if a Little Caesar sits out for longer than 16 minutes, it is just terrible. That's the key to success there. What's your moment, Rip? What's your one-star moment of the week?
Mine actually goes back a few weeks. I've been waiting on this one, but we were off for about a month from this pod, and listeners know I was on an 8-day road trip passing through Yellowstone. I had a huge one-star moment there. We were on a private van tour in Yellowstone to see all the wildlife, the bison, the moose, the grizzly bears, all that. And it was a 5-hour tour, and it started at 5 in the morning, super early. That's when the wildlife are out. So naturally, we're heading back from the tour. It's like 10:30. My kid was so tired from waking up so early, my 5-year-old, that he fell asleep in the van. And I told my wife, I was like, don't let him fall asleep. I was like, he's not fully potty trained through naps and everything. So he's gonna pee. So we're in this nice like 8-passenger van. This awesome driver, I think his name was Jack from Cody, Wyoming. Great guy, hilarious guy, very nice man. Sure enough, we get back to the hotel. I see some drips coming down from the seat in front of me, and I'm like, oh shit. So I asked my older son, I'm like, what just happened? Like, I think Stanley peed. And so sure enough, we get out of the car. I said to my wife, did he pee? And I look at the seat, it's totally soaked. And she's like, oh no. She's like, yeah, he totally did. So then it's like stuff's firing off in your head. What do I do? Do I tell the driver? Do I try to hide it? So no, me, I didn't want to confront the driver. It was like a brand new van. Like probably we're like the second tour that's ever been in that van.
Well, you were
So
gonna try to pee. You were gonna try to pee and dash on Jack from Cody.
I did.
That was
I
your
went.
thought. That was
So
your adult thought was, let me just grab my
this is the
family
one
and
star
leave.
moment, DK. I went in. I got some cash from the front desk at the hotel where he dropped us off.
How much? How
I
much?
said,
You
I'm
get a
just gonna
20?
give
You
this
get a
guy. I
12?
said, I'm just gonna give this guy a big tip, and because I go out and he's kind of looking in the van. I'm like, oh shit, he sees it. So I kind of sneak around the corner. I gave him $30, which is a pretty good tip. It's probably percentage wise, it was probably like a 20% tip. Probably definitely the biggest tip he's gotten. Like people don't throw this driver over $10.
This is not a
So I
P
gave him
tip.
$30.
A P tip is usually 100. If
I
even a
know. So
drunken
that's
man pees, even a drunken man pees in an Uber, which happens to the best of us, it's a quick bill. It's a quick Bill Clinton, pretty much.
it was kind of a moment of panic, man, because I didn't know whether to offer to clean it up, stay there and help him clean it up. But I was also like, I don't want to try to clean pee out of a brand new van. Like I've done this enough to my own cars. I don't want to have to do it to another car. So that's where my head went. I gave him $30 and I was out. So apologies to Jack if you're listening in Yellowstone. You give a great tour. You're a 5-star guy. I will give you 5 stars on Yelp. But my 1-star moment of the week, how I handled that, I apologize.
Damn, honesty, you're throwing it out there. Fuck, Jack from Cody. Yeah, he probably got $30 tip. He's on his way to go to Arby's and get him a beef and cheddar. Started smelling. Just pure disappointment. So much for your beef and cheddar, Jack from Cody.
I should really be apologizing to the next people who took the tour because yeah, they probably had an entire morning of piss smell in that van. So,
what was your favorite thing
bad.
from the tour? What was your number one thing other than leaving this guy's PP train? What was the best thing? You guys see some animals?
The driver, like I said, the driver was really good. He gave us a lot of history about the area. Had been living there his whole life. Yeah, we saw tons of bison. We saw a grizzly bear. We saw tons of elk. Oh, the highlight. This is the highlight. I saw a bison humping another bison, and people think horses are interesting to see mate. Bisons are unbelievable, if you know what I'm talking about. And the second thing was like 30 minutes later, we saw a bison fight. And so we got it. And the guy said he hasn't seen this in like 5 years. So we got out of the van. We were watching from about 30 feet away, 2 bison just headbutting each other. And it's mating season. So the males fight for the right to mate with one of the female bison. And sometimes they fight till the death, which is crazy. One either gives up or they fight till the death. And we watched this thing for about 10 minutes, and one of them just took a beating. So he just gave up. You could tell he put his head down and walked away. Everybody knew it was over. So he didn't get any bison companionship that night. But yeah, so that was the highlight right there. We saw something this driver hasn't seen in 5 years.
Sounds like a highlight film. I would actually pay probably good money on a premium channel to watch you explain to your kids the action that they saw both the first episode and then the second episode. Sex to a fight, and then hear Rip explaining to his 5 and 7-year-old what's happening in animal nature. Could be good content in the future, Rip.
Right, I saw the entire bison life cycle basically, save for like a birth, an actual birth. But yeah, it was pretty incredible. Those animals are very unique and super huge, crazy, huge in more than one way, by the way.
Yeah, huge dongs. That's what he's saying. 1-star recommendation of the week is not huge dongs. It is anything that made us feel good this week. Anything that made us smile. Rip, I'll give you a breather. You just did a beautiful Yellowstone synopsis. Very jealous of that trip. You also went to Chico Hot Springs, which is the hot springs I learned how to swim as a child. 1 to 5 stars, Chico Hot Springs.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's in an amazing area in Montana, super remote, but I mean, go figure. Hot springs. I thought there was gonna be a cold pool in the mix. That water is hot, DK. There was one jacuzzi that was like 101 degrees, and the full size pool was like 98 degrees. It was a warm day. It was like 80 out. It did not feel nice getting in that 98 degrees.
Oh yeah, in the winter, it's the time is right. Hey, your kid could pee freely there though, so that's a W. Nobody would know. Everything's hot in there. One star rec of the week for me. You know what? I've upped you now since I'm homeless. Rip on my free what I can do for no money. I figured out a gym situation. I'm here in Princeville, Kauai, which is on the north side of Kauai. I needed to hit a gym. My first Google took me to a thing called an outdoor gym sponsored by AARP. What would one think that would be? I pulled up. I was never this excited in my entire life. It's basically just a playground. I think for elderly people, to come and do a little fitness. But bro, this thing had pull-up bars, a pec machine, a rower, a bench, a dip bar, all free. You know what? Google in your neighborhood just for kicks. Go into Google Maps and and put in fitness park. That's what they called this thing, fitness park. And the coolest thing about it is there's kind of like a playground of all this little. It's not like great gym equipment. It looks like a art student kind of put it together, but it works. You get it. You're like, oh, that's a bicep thing. That's a whatever. The cool thing was there was a 1 mile loop where you can do a loop, and every, I don't know, quarter mile there was another little thing to do, another little action station, Action Jackson. So look that up, Rip. Maybe give that a go. Fitness Center, free fitness center. It was sponsored by AARP, so maybe they're putting it up all over the nation. It's my recommendation.
I know exactly what that is. We have one out here right up in Signal Hill, California, and we do it all the time. The kids even get into it because it's like equipment you've never really seen before. So they take their tries at it, and yeah, every once in a while you'll see like an old person doing Tai Chi in the middle of it. But yeah, 5 stars.
It was new to me, man. It's cool. Yeah, it's not great equipment. All the gym rats or people who like real things are like, oh, this sucks. But it's like shit to have a pull-up bar, to have all the things right there. Chef's kiss.
Hey, you make do with what you have, man. Definite recommendation of the week right there. Mine is DK. I'm gonna shout this to the mountaintops because I had a big moment this weekend. I've been a DirecTV customer for 18 years. 18 years, crazy. I had to be like top 5% of DirecTV customers. I finally cut it on Saturday, and I cut it because YouTube TV, DK. You've been a subscriber. You kind of pioneered that. But my recommendation of the week is actually they still have a special going on until September 19th. Today's the 13th, so you got another 6 days. $50 off NFL ticket. As everyone knows, NFL ticket now moved from DirecTV after forever over to YouTube TV. So I got set up with it on right before the games on Sunday, and I love it, man. It's all right there in the app on your smart TV. It's
and your phone and your iPad
and your phone. I watched Monday Night Football on my phone last night.
If you're you're a big phone guy, you can do that. Put it on the pillow while you're doing the kid story time or whatever. So see, that's the sleepy part that makes it so good. The accessibility of all your screens real fast.
Not to mention, there's so many packages on DirecTV, so people are paying different prices for whatever you got. I was paying $105 a month for YouTube TV. I'm paying an average of I think 70 for the next year, and I don't think it goes up a little bit after that. So saving money. Even including NFL Sunday Ticket, I'm still saving money off DirecTV.
Welcome over. It's been a godsend for me since the fire, everything burned down. Obviously, I still want to watch TV. Pull up my computer, pull up my phone, have all my YouTube settings the way that they always were. In fact, you can log in on any smart TV to your account wherever you are. Also, double chef's kiss, rec of the week, Rick. Double chef's kiss, bro. I'm giving it to us.
I got one more bonus real quick. Shout out to my nephew, Trevor Thompson, Phoenix, Arizona. Today, in a few hours, he's trying out for the Santa Cruz Warriors at a tryout up there at Chase Center in San Francisco. 1-star rec of the week, man. Just chase your dream. He's 24, still doing it. So glad he's getting up there. Shout out to the Warriors for making that happen. And, best of luck, man. You never know. Chase your dreams, though.
Let's go, Trev. Enjoy just playing in Chase Center, man. Make your shots. Make them shots. That's what it's all about right now. Making trays, playing a little defense. Hit it. Rip Pac-Man Jones was arrested for making terrorist threats at the airport on 9/11. Claims it was bogus. What's your gut instinct on Pac-Man Jones?
Oh man, unfortunately, where there's smoke, there's fire. He's been doing this for a long time, so yeah, this is the first I've heard of it, but I'm already presuming him guilty, unfortunately. So, man, Pac-Man, you're throwing away a lot. I think you got a good podcast going. You're on TV. Don't give it up, man. Stop the nonsense.
I'm with you, Rip. I'm with you. A lot of people, a lot of stories in the news right now where I think if there's smoke, there's fire. Mel Tucker, he calls harassment allegations completely false. The allegations are that he pulled out his wiener on a call with a anti rape and violence person. What's your gut say on this guy?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole he said she said. Like he says it's consensual, she said it wasn't. But I mean, look, don't even go there at that point. Like you said, you're talking to a rape survivor who's working in advocacy for Michigan State, who went through the whole Larry Nassar thing. Like, come on, man, you can't even.
Is this a simulation? Is this the real world that we live in? Is this real?
You can't even get to that point, Mel Tucker. I saw he had a 10-year, $95 million contract, and you're throwing that away to jerk off and have phone sex? Like, come on, bro.
Crazy that this has gotten even this far. I hope it's not true. Chris Jones and the Chiefs came to a contract agreement. Seems like a lot of this for nothing. This man just want to get out of training camp.
I think that's the case a lot of times, especially with these vets, man. And I'm sure they threw whatever extra incentives there is because they saw what happened against the Lions, and Jared Goff kind of picked him apart. But he's got Trevor Lawrence this week in his opening week, man. That might be the surprise team of 2023. So good luck to that, man.
Love them Jags. Last one, ESPN. Save the date, Rip. ESPN is streaming a Toy Story themed animated alternate broadcast of the Falcons Jaguars game in week 4. Get your kids in front of the YouTube TV, baby.
Wow, that's a wreck of the week for sure, right there. Toy Story? I'm curious to see how that works out.
And we'll get to see one-star Christian Kirk finally get some action. Jacksonville throw it to that man. Very talented too. You got Zero's talented. Kirk's also talented. 5 stars for the 1 stars. Listeners, you guys are amazing. If you enjoyed this at all, drop us 5 stars. If not, also totally cool. The support still has been unbelievable this week from all the listeners about the Hawaii and the Lahaina stuff. Please keep supporting. I've gotten a ton of text messages, ton of love. Keep supporting Lahaina any way, shape, or form that you can. Rip, good luck being a parent, man. It's the real deal out there, but I believe in you. You're the best man I know. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.